Paul O Mycin has an argument on his profile that purports to prove Deism. However, the logic he employs to do this is so bad that he commits two obvious fallacies. The first error Paul makes is that he asserts that space-time had a beginning. Paul gives no scientific evidence for this, but rather merely asserts it, which makes his claim a fallacy of a bare assertion. Once Paul asserts without evidence that space-time had a beginning, this allows him to invalidly transition into his three options for the cause of the beginning of the universe. Paul gives only three options. The first one is the universe began by chance. The second is the universe is a continuous series of causal loops, beginnings, or infinite series of big bangs. And the third is the universe began by intent. And because Paul forces us into only three options, when there are more, Paul's proof for Deism fails since his options for the universe are not exhaustive, making his argument a logical fallacy of a false trichotomy, or more standardly, a false dilemma. There are two other options that can account for the existence of the universe, and both options obliterate the need for his deistic God. One option is that the universe is eternal, and the other option is conditional causality, or simply causality for short. If a person goes with the notion that the universe is not eternal but did have a beginning, it still does not require an intention-possessing being to create it. It could simply have been created by the sufficient conditions in place to make its creation causally inevitable. Let me give an example. A tornado is a naturally occurring phenomenon, but are tornadoes created by chance? Absolutely not, because I infer that what Paul means by chance is something that has no cause. In other words, something that occurred by accident without any reason. But tornadoes have a cause and reasons for their coming into being. Are causal loops, beginnings, or infinite series a problem for tornadoes? No. So, consistent with Paul's very bad logic, the only way a tornado could be caused is by intent. But of course, tornadoes are not caused by any conscious sentient beings with the ability to do things intentionally. Tornadoes are caused by processes that form that phenomenon when the necessary and sufficient conditions are in place to do so. In the same way, if we want to say the universe began, the universe could have began in its current state where the necessary and sufficient conditions were in place to cause its present state of affairs to come into being. So no, Paul, your fallacious logic does not welcome us to Deism.